There we are. So tonight in 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 5 to 16 is the plan of our study. It is the final section of the first half of the book of 2 Corinthians, this great book of anxiety and concern that Paul had for the brethren. And he started unspooling so many threads as 2 Corinthians began, and we used this as a chart to illustrate that he'll begin and end with talk of God's comfort that God gives him and believers through Christ and in the situations of this world. And so we'll come and we'll wrap that up tonight. There's that anxious journey, which Paul began to talk about, interrupting even the first telling of that, to speak of forgiveness to be offered to the one who had been in such heinous sin, shocking, even in a pagan place like Corinth, his sin that the church had tolerated. And 1 Corinthians 5 dealt with him. Well, that'll be referenced tonight in our wrap-up section, as Paul sort of puts it all back together. He went on and talked about the preaching and the new covenant, the gospel, the plea for separation, which we had last time, and his call for them to return, the love and concern that he had for them to bring that back to him. Well, all of those various things are rolled back up tonight. They had been, some of these have been sort of unfinished business for now, as we divide it to 6 chapters or so. But all these different various businesses will be concluded tonight. So the relief of anxiety. In chapter 7, last week we finished in verse 4. We'll read that again and then read on to the end of the chapter. Paul said, "Great is my confidence in you. Great is my boasting on your behalf. I am filled with comfort. I am overflowing with joy in all our affliction." So I am comforted in you, and in affliction I am comforted. Now, beginning verse 5, our new study tonight, he's going to talk about that. And we're going to divide this into 3 sections: affliction and comfort, and sorrow and rejoicing, and then again, comfort and refreshment. And so comfort will be a key term, rejoicing, just affirmations of good things, and God bearing with us and strengthening in us in all these things. So again, 2 Corinthians 7:5, "For even when we came into Macedonia, our flesh had no rest, but we were afflicted on every side, conflicts without, fears within. But God, who comforts the depressed, comforted us with the coming of Titus, and not only by his coming, but also by the comfort with which he was comforted in you, as he reported to us your longing, your mourning, your zeal for me, so that I might rejoice even more. For though I caused you sorrow by my letter, I do not regret it. Though I did regret it, for I see that my letter caused you sorrow, though only for a while. I now rejoice, not that you were made sorrowful, but that you were made sorrowful to the point of repentance. For you were made sorrowful according to the will of God, so that you might not suffer the loss in anything through us. For the sorrow that is according to the will of God produces a repentance without regret, leading to salvation. But the sorrow of the world produces death. For behold, what earnestness this very thing, this godly sorrow, has produced in you. What vindication of yourselves, what what indignation, what fear, what longing, what zeal, what avenging of wrong. All right. It looks like I'm back. Sandy, I see you. Can you hear me? Could you wave if you can? Thank you. All right. According to everything I have here, either my internet crashed or my router crashed. I don't know which. And so I was kicked out of the meeting, and it took a moment to restart it. Okay. It looks like I am back. I hope all of y'all are. We were reading in 2 Corinthians 7 when we sort of lost a connection to the world. Let me begin reading in 2 Corinthians 7 and verse 8. For the recording of this, I'll just go back and stitch together. 2 Corinthians 7, we'll start the reading in verse 8. For though I cause you sorrow by my letter, I do not regret it. Though I did regret it, for I see that my letter caused you sorrow, though only for a little while. I now rejoice, not that you were made sorrowful, but that you are made sorrowful to the point of repentance. For you are made sorrowful according to the will of God, so that you might not suffer loss in anything through us. For the sorrow that is according to the will of God produces a repentance without regret, leading to salvation. But the sorrow of the world produces death. For behold, what earnestness this very thing, this godly sorrow has produced in you. What vindication of yourselves, what indignation, what fear, what longing, what zeal, what avenging of wrong. In everything you demonstrated yourself innocent in the matter. So although I wrote to you, it was not for the sake of the offender, nor for the sake of the one offended, but that your earnestness on our behalf might be made known to you in the sight of God. For this reason, we have been comforted. And besides our comfort, we rejoice even more, even much more, for the joy of Titus, because his spirit has been refreshed by you all. For if in anything I have boasted to him about you, I was not put to shame. But as we spoke all things to you in truth, so also our boasting before Titus proved to be the truth. His affection abounds all the more towards you, as he remembers the obedience of you all, and how you received him with fear and trembling. I rejoice that in everything I have confidence in you. And so here we are with the Apostle Paul concluding again this first emotional